Hi, and welcome to this in a series of bite-sized videos produced by Cohesion Recruitment. My name is Steve Ishwood and I'm Chief Executive of the ISE, the Institute of Student Employers. On this video, we're going to be talking about keeping virtual recruitment human. One of the impacts of the coronavirus has been that those employers that are still recruiting, and a lot more are recruiting than the headlines would have you believe, but a lot of that recruitment has now shifted online for very obvious reasons. For a number of years now, video interviewing has played an even stronger role within our industry. But actually, as a result of businesses not being able to have candidates coming into the offices, what we've seen in our assessment centres shifting online. So all those activities that used to take place in offices, group exercises, case studies, role plays, a lot of those have shifted online. And we've seen employers utilising tools like Zoom and Teams and all the different functionality available on those platforms to run very effective assessment centre processes. We know a number of employers that have actually taken candidates all the way through to offer stage. So they've been making offers with not feeling the need to actually see that candidate in person. But of course, that presents a challenge. How do we keep the virtual world human? How do we enable both employers and students to interact in a way that they are comfortable, that they are making the right decisions about each other? Because it's not just about the recruitment decision, of course, it's also the decision the student makes on their future career, and it being the right decision. One of my views is that a lot of the virtual activities will stick, even as we come out of this crisis and recruitment starts to get back to some sort of normality, particularly in terms of recruitment volumes. But of course, actually producing recruitment processes online is very efficient for employers. It saves the need to travel around. It saves the need to book out large amounts of office space. I'm an ex-recruiter, and I remember the battles I used to fight trying to get control of a client suite for the day to process sort of 40 or 50 candidates through an assessment centre. And of course, doing it virtually takes all that away. And I think actually when employers start to think about their budgets in the future, actually putting that stuff back into the budget when it's worked perfectly well virtually, I think there'll be some difficult decisions probably made at that point. I think some of it will actually go back to face to face. I think the need for employers and candidates to meet face to face. To understand each other better. I think the competitiveness that will no doubt return to recruitment at some point. I've got plenty of grey hair, so I've worked through 2 or 3 recessions now, so I know that markets do get better. So it might well be that those competitive forces actually, when thinking about candidate experiences, drive employers to do more stuff face to face again. But I do think virtual is here to stay in some form. The pendulum has swung, to a fully virtual world, and it will swing back to some extent. But I think the big question is actually how far it will swing back. So that's enough for me. Time now to hear from our next speaker, who will explore this issue a bit further.
Hello everyone, David Dewey here, founder and CEO of Shortlister Interviewing Solutions. So here today to share my perspective on early talent recruitment, keeping it human in an increasingly virtual world. So can technology replace the human elements of a recruitment process? So when we talk technology, we're not talking robots, we're talking tools that are enablers. A human sits behind those. A human is ultimately making those hiring decisions. So can tech replace that human element? No, I don't believe it can right now. However, I do believe technology has a role in enhancing that human element. If you know what makes your recruitment process human, technology is a great medium for amplification of that. And there's some great examples of this, utilising video to showcase working environment, cultures, day in the lives of facilitating Q&As. Can candidates truly understand your culture if they don't speak or meet a person during the recruitment process? Well, I don't foresee a recruitment process where a candidate doesn't meet or speak to anyone. There usually is an opportunity, if it's online, to facilitate some one-to-one interaction. And I think often candidates' understanding of a company culture is overestimated. They've got very limited exposure to observe attitudes, behaviours and interactions. That said, I do believe that a move towards virtual recruitment will lead to a better understanding of a company's culture. And that's simply because more investment is going to go into that. Companies recognise that that piece is missing and will compensate for that, and hopefully make the distinction between the assessment activities and the softer sort of informal dialogue where they can reinforce some of that messaging. So where should those cost efficiencies that are achieved through delivering virtual assessments be reinvested in the recruitment process? Well, my view is that that needs to be invested up front. The candidates should have more opportunity to see, sample what it's like to work at that company up front. So an investment in video content showcasing culture, working environment, Q&A sessions through social platforms, so prospective candidates can field questions, observe that thread and get a feel for what that company's looking for. Applicant forums, so applicants can communicate with each other and get a feel for the types of people that company's looking to attract and progress. I think a key thing is assessment activities that are also reflective of the work-based activities that they're going to perform in roles. So they can get a real feel in a virtual environment, the sort of tasks that are going to be expected to perform while in role is key. And finally, feedback. I think feedback is something that candidates have been asking for a long time. I can foresee companies investing more time in following up after assessment stages to provide feedback and use that to humanise that experience and reinforce some of those cultural messages. Thank you very much for your time. This was Shortlisters' perspective on early talent recruitment and keeping it human. Many thanks.
Hello, my name is Eddie Caviezel-Cox and I'm a recent graduate from Loughborough University where I studied history and international relations. When I think about whether technology can replace the human element of a recruitment process, I think the overwhelming feeling is no. I think a lot of companies don't understand that once a student is set on a position, once a student is set on a job field, that really what they want to know is the culture of that company, the culture of that business, where their values are best suited and what their day-to-day life is going to be like when they're an employee of that company. Being able to put a face or being able to put a name and associate that person with the company that you're applying for is really, really important. I think some of the best recruitment processes that I've been through when I'm considering post-graduation opportunities is where somebody at that company has picked up the phone to me, introduced themselves and told me how the recruitment process works for that company, or where somebody at that company has emailed me and been able to put a name to the company that I can have as a constant point of contact throughout the recruitment process. If or should I have any questions regarding the recruitment process or the culture of the company, or even little things like pay rates or hours or things like that.
Tech is never going to replace the human element of the recruitment process. Not completely, but it's a fantastic tool to use, particularly if you're an organisation that is going to be receiving hundreds of applicants. You've got to start somewhere, or you will be wasting enormous amounts of time of people reading through things like CVs, which doesn't always tell the whole picture, but you've got to have something. Being able to get that kind of information and collate to help streamline your funnel is extremely important. But as we all know, CVs don't always tell the whole story. And lots of times candidates have so much more about them that they may not even recognise that you would love. And when you talk about things like, say, if a tech machine just churns through all the A stars, all the first degrees, there's a lot to be said for candidates who are your B students, your middle of the road students, your 2-2s and degree level, because these sorts of candidates might have those grades not because they're not bright, but because they've been doing an awful lot of other things and just getting the grade isn't the most important thing. So whilst tech can never really replace the human touch, it can help the process like everything. Automation isn't going to be the answer to the world, and there's going to be lots of things that human touch in particular, whatever that is, or analysis, is not what tech's about. But used right and used correctly, it's a fantastic tool.
Hi, Finn Norton here, co-founder and MD of TopScore. TopScore are a provider of a virtual assessment centre and interview technology platform. So I'm going to be sharing some of my thoughts on how early talent recruitment can be kept human in an increasingly digital and moreover virtual world. So I'm sharing my thoughts from an assessment centre or interview point of view, so really that final assess stage of the candidate recruitment journey. So I found from talking to our clients, and lots of which recruit for early talent or early careers, that technology can complement the human element when used in the right way, of course. So if you can use innovative and easy to use technology and combine this with good communication with your candidates, this will continue to engage them and still give that human element. So some great success stories recently from clients are, for example, holding virtual drop-in sessions ahead of an assessment centre for candidates. So this gives employers a chance to brief the candidates on what to expect, particularly in terms of the technology they'll be using at a virtual assessment centre, and also gives candidates the chance to speak to and see someone in that organisation and ask questions and potentially share their concerns about taking part in a virtual assessment centre. And if you can use that virtual drop-in session that can be done by conference calling with various platforms, if you can use that as an opportunity to show the candidates the technology platform or platforms they'll be using, that's particularly effective. Another way to engage candidates is to create a video for them to watch ahead of their assessment centre. Some of our clients recently have created excellent videos showcasing the journey that candidates will go through from start to finish, and actually demonstrating the technology or technology platforms they'll be using at the assessment centre and how they'll be using those platforms for the different activities at the assessment centre. So potentially stating the obvious here, but I think generally good communication with your candidates is key to giving that human element. And using easy to use but innovative technology is critical to engaging them. We've also seen our clients not just using the assessment centre as an opportunity to assess candidates in the various activities, but also holding other online informative sessions during the assessment centre, such as talks from key stakeholders and holding Q&A sessions for candidates to find out more about the organisation. So there are cost efficiencies of running virtual assessment centres, and for some organisations those cost efficiencies can be quite significant. So I think some, if not all of those costs saved should be reinvested to continue to engage candidates and give that human element.
Hi, I'm Debs Edmondson, the Talent Director for Early Talent here at Cohesion. First of all, just wanted to say thank you ever so much to all of our speakers who have contributed to the video today. We really appreciate you taking the time to record those and send them through to us, so thank you. And obviously hope that it's been really useful viewing for you as well. So from our perspective here at Cohesion, and from our experience of working with early talent over the last few years, we would absolutely agree that the human interaction in the recruitment process cannot be replaced by technology alone. It's really important. Students are using that recruitment journey as a little bit of a window into your organisation, and they are making decisions about how they might perceive you as an employer, how they might be treated as an employee, based on that recruitment experience that they receive. So actually that's a really great opportunity for you to ensure that that human interaction and engagement is there through the recruitment process, because that will really help to draw them in and obviously gain some commitment on their side for them to want to work for you as well. So if you would like to find out any more with regards to how we work with our clients and how obviously we do put that human interaction within our recruitment processes, please do get in touch with us on the details that have been shown on the screen. Thanks very much, and we look forward to sharing our next video with you soon.